above and beyond the call of duty here. Let me, geez, keep going here. We're going to, you know, the one thing, Gary, is you're getting very good at your interpretations. So.
Oh, well, thank you. It's kind of
Yeah.
you to say from the master, no, nonetheless.
No, I'm just saying that you are getting really good. All right, let's see. A man greets me. I got to find out where. Okay, it floats up in the air. I'm exhausted. Oh, there it is. A man greets me. Okay, let's get the last part of this. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, do you want to read it? Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
Roy?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let me start here then. Let's see what we got. Okay, Adelaide and me are wanting to get vaccinated. We are in Virginia, my home state. We hear news about vaccinations are going on at a location about 30 miles to the north. We decide to drive up there and get vaccinated or get more information. When we get near, lots of cars and traffic are everywhere. We park and we're walking to some tents. I hear a woman call out my name, Roy Stone, appointment at April 9th. I walk over to the tent with Adelaide to confirm my appointment. More and more people are coming and I lose Adelaide. I can't find her. I go back to the car thinking she might be there. She always carries her cell phone, so I figure she can call me. It is getting late, so I decide to drive back. I'm driving, but my car leaves the road. It just floats up in the air. It crosses over a river into nowhere land. I focus really hard to get it back. I get back across the river and land in a suburban yard. I'm exhausted. I go into a total stranger's house. A man greets me and I tell him some of my story. He is very understanding and accepts my drop-in. He takes me to a refrigerator and takes out a cake. He made this wonderful cake and wants to celebrate some event. It is all decorated up like a wedding cake. I tell him, you go ahead and eat a rose or something. I'm too shook up.
This is just amazing. Now, how do you notice how this is similar to Gary's COVID dream?
Lots of people.
Yeah, where he goes there, there's lots of people, and you know, the thing is, it's I think one of the things we decided in that one that it's sort of the collective solution.
Definitely.
You know, and it's since it's the collective solution, it's not our solution. You know, and I think the dream maker is using the example of the vaccination to the healing thing, the thing that is healing in us, you know, and this aspect is it's too collective. You know, I had a really amazing dream, you know, where the unconscious just takes these little things. Well, okay, here it was just last night that you know, we have several branches at our forklift business. They sell Toyota forklifts, and the whole thing was they weren't being paid attention to properly, but if you pay attention to them, they will operate better, you know. And I was just thinking, well, that's sort of duh, you know, but it just then it struck me that it was just brilliant, you know, that it's telling me, you know, this isn't that hard, you know. If you know, if you can get this elsewhere, you can get it here. But anyway, let's just start with here. The anima and ourselves are looking to go someplace to get something that is going to keep us in the position of wholeness. Now, healing and wholeness are the same thing. They have the same word, you know. So it has to do with healing. It has to do with wholeness. We were in Virginia, your home state. So you're at the place of the beginning, you know, a place of departure. So you go back to the place of departure, and this is where you can get the medicine that heals, you know. And we heard news about vaccinations that were going on about 30 miles to the north. 30. You know, I don't know what that means. We decide to drive up there. I mean, but picking 30 as a specific number is kind of interesting. Why? You know, we decide to drive up there to get this medicine, the healing medicine, and get more information about the healing medicine. When we get near there, it's the collective situation again, just like Gary's. Lots of cars and traffic everywhere. We park and are walking to some tents. I hear a woman call out my name. Roy Stone, appointment April 9th. Okay, now this was, the wedding was on the morning of the 7th. So it was the night of the 6th. So in 3 days, the medicine is available to us. We walk over the tent with the anima, the one who we're united to affirm my appointment. Yes, I want this. More and more people are coming, and we lose Adelaide. So we're getting lost in the collective, and we lose the connection with the feminine here in the collective. You know, this is what one of the things that Marie Louise von Franz said in the Puer Aeternus about some of the Jungians who were all intellectual. She says, where's the anima? Where's the feeling function in your analysis? So I don't know exactly what that is, but it's that when we get in the collective, we lose touch with the feminine. That's not the thinking function, but as we move into the collective, the feminine is suddenly the connections has been lost. So she always, we think we can get in touch with her. So, I mean, or she can get a hold of us, but it's getting late. So we decide to drive back without her to the, back to where? To Virginia.
Virginia, where we're staying in Virginia.
Yeah, the departure point. And then she can get back in touch with you eventually. Okay. Hi, Tim. We're just going through a dream here of Roy's here. Let me see if I can put it in here. Let's
Terrific.
See. Copy, and put it in here. I don't know if it's going. I think I gotta. Just a second. Let me copy it a different way. It isn't copying very well. Okay, and I do have a lot on the bubble dream too, so we'll get to the bubble dream as soon as we're done. I was just telling Roy that I was hoping that I could get to Roy sent me this dream a little earlier, but you know, when you can amplify them with in writing, I just told my wife it's always different. You know, a different voice speaks when you're writing, a different consciousness. Okay, I go into a total. Oh wait, is that? Did I just send you? Did I just send you? Did I send Tim's dream?
No, this is wedding cake.
Oh, this is the wedding cake dream. Okay,
That's
good.
it.
Yeah. Okay, just a second. I go into a total stranger's house. Let's see.
A man greets me. And
Yeah. Okay, a man greets me.
Of my story.
All right. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, more and more people come. She always carries her cell phone. Did I go into a total stranger's house? Yeah, and then I lost a part of it. Okay, well, anyway, let me see if I can get the end of that. I I think I just lost it.
Yeah, I don't know how to paste in there. I
Yeah,
hadn't
don't
figured that
worry.
out either.
I will get it
Yeah.
here. Let's just keep going through it here. Okay. So we lose Adelaide when we go into this collective situation. We think that she can still be in touch with her, but when we move in the collective, suddenly the connection with the feminine just evaporates. And we think that she can contact us, so we're not worried. And we drive back to Virginia, which is the departure point. And it's getting late. So we decide to drive back, and I'm driving back, but the car leaves the road. Okay. Now, as we're going back to the departure point, we went there to get the healing medicine. And like Gary's dream, it was so collective. There are just all kinds of people there, and it's the collective solution, the collective healing solution. And that because we went into there, the feminine, suddenly we've lost connection with the feminine. So now we're kind of it's getting late. There's really nothing to do. So we go back to the departure point. And as we return to the departure point, and this is again from that, because of the two collective solution and losing connection with the feminine, our ego vehicle suddenly leaves the road. Okay. And it starts to float. It floats up into the air, crosses over a river and the unconscious into nowhere land. Okay. And we focus really hard to get back. We get back across the river and land in a suburban yard. I'm exhausted, and I go into a total stranger's house. So let's just finish that last part. That okay, we went to get the healing medicine. It was too collective. When we went into it and more people were gathering, we lost the connection with the feminine. We don't know what to do. The night is closing in. So we tried to drive back to the departure point of Virginia, our home state. And as we do, we're not in control of that vehicle anymore. So ego is not steering the vehicle. It has suddenly someone else has taken over control. And it doesn't seem to have a goal or a center. It just goes into nowhere land. So again, this is sort of like those places that you went to when you were on your truck, where it's just this, sort of just an empty landscape. Okay. And then at that point, it floats up into the air. It loses contact with reality, and moves into the spirit. And it crosses over a river. Whenever you cross over a river, you went into the to the yonder shore. Okay, you went to the yonder shore. Okay, and now you focus really hard to get it back, or get the cargo back. You do get it back across the river from the yonder shore. That's where the vehicle that we are not steering wanted to go. But then ego somehow asserts control, gets it back somewhat, and we land again in one of Charles' suburban yards, a place that's far from the center, yet is connected to the center some way. And it's where again, a sort of a collective place. Now, at this point, ego is exhausted, and we just go into a total stranger's house. What does it mean to go into a total stranger's house? Okay, Gary, what do you think of this dream? Are you ready?
I think you're definitely on the right track here. He goes to find, the solution, the path. But, once you get into the crowds, the solution isn't there, and he loses contact with the feminine, the anima, then, he feels that he can always call her back, but he doesn't make the call. So, I find that interesting. He's going to wait for the feminine to search for him. Why is that? It's like, especially in that he lost contact. And we know that later in the dream, he's feeling anxious. He's feeling quite shook up. So, this not taking that action, I think that's significant. So then he decides to drive back to the point of beginning, but the self is aware that, repeating this journey is not the way. So the self takes him to
The
the other
real
side.
place of healing, maybe?
It takes him, we don't know if it's the real place
No.
of healing, but it's to the middle realm. And, so now, but he's fighting it. This is not, he wants to be in control. He doesn't want to relinquish control. And yet we already know that the first path, the first solution, for the quote unquote vaccine was not the solution. And that, even he understood he had to go back to the beginning and start again. And yet perhaps this aid of taking him over to the middle realm is resisted, and he tries to control it. So then he comes back to what he understands and in this, in this suburban area. And yet, this celebratory thing, this wedding cake, it's all, none of it gels with what's happening. I mean, why should there be a celebration with any of this? So to me, it's almost like, once again, he's back in the land of distraction. He's back in the area of collective confusion, and his rejection of the offering. That's true. That was good. That it's like, no, I don't have anything to celebrate here. So, you might as well go ahead and, you go your way, but this is not my celebration. So but if we focus on a couple of the feelings here, there's two that really come through. One is that he doesn't feel like it's necessary to contact the anima, to call her back, to find out where she's gone. Where is she gone? This is an important woman. You don't just like, well, I hope she shows up. and then in the end, he's becoming aware of his loss, and he's also become aware, and yet he was not willing to let the self lead him. And so, he is, then that response of being very shook up. So we have a bit of indifference, and then, after kind of dealing with things he doesn't quite know how to deal with yet, the exhaustion and the being shaken up. And so, I think,
So beautiful.
like, if I was Bosnak and actually knew what I was doing, I would, we'd probably have, we'd say, well, look, go into that feeling of being shook up and try to locate, where that's coming from, and obviously some of it's going to relate back to that journey to the other side and the extreme, difficulty of getting back. And yet, I don't know, my floundering feeling is that it was the other side that would have offered the different beginning that would have offered the solution. Anyway, that's
That
where
was
I'm at.
incredibly intuitive, Gary. I think that your fact that you're not feeling so good at night is wiping away. I just wanted to follow up on a couple things you said. One is, and I put in this last part, Tim. I forgot to put that in, but is the idea that we should have called the anima. So we not only lost touch with the feminine, but we lost touch with the feeling function, with eros, with the relatedness of the feeling function and of eros. And notice at the end, this twin stranger seemingly. Now we went to a place from the yonder shore. We came back to a place closer to the conscious attitude. It's at least in the suburban area, and this person with the wonderful, this wonderful celebration of wholeness invites us to eat a rose, invites us to eat, partake of the feeling function of eros, and we are too shook up. I mean, I think we're too much in the conscious attitude, and we're going to have to. Roy, can you describe why you're shook up?
Yeah, I lost Adelaide, and I had feelings about how much she meant to me, and it really shook me up. It's a big loss. It's a really big thing, a tremendous thing.
Yeah. Plus this confusion. What do you think, Tim? I love your venue, by the way.
Oh yes, I'm in California.
Oh, great! I love it.
I came out here to do some painting.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get my head around this. I got some questions, Roy. Like, when you hear a woman's voice say, "Roy Stone, your appointment is April 9th," and that's going to be in 2 days in the future. Is that right?
That's correct.
Man, I think that's a good sign. I think she's coming to get you. She can come bring the medicine. So then when you drive back, is that back to 30 miles south?
Yes.
So you're going to do that whole thing without Adelaide?
Yes.
Okay. And the assumption is that she's going to be fine, or that you'll meet her there or something?
Well, when I first met Adelaide, she wouldn't let me call her. She would always call me. I couldn't call her. So she kind of trained me. And like 99% of the time that she's in my dreams, I lose her.
Huh.
So this is what I have to deal with ever since I met Adelaide. It's probably sunk deep into my unconscious. So I was just sort of doing my behavior, waiting for her to call. And of course I lose her, I always lose her in a dream. But this time I felt it very, very deeply that this wasn't, it was something different this time. I had very, very strong feelings. Almost like when I was 12, and the thing that I loved the most, this dog that I had named Sage, my mom had it somewhere, and she said a cat jumped out and scared it, and it ran out in the road and got run over. And she just brings it to me and lays it next to me and says, you deal with this. And I had to bury the dog and stuff, and it just totally changed me as a person. I was only 12. And it's like I went to nowhere land.
Huh.
And then I had to fight to come back, but I was all shook up. You lose the thing that you love the most. You don't expect it. And you go to nowhere land, and you fight to come back, but you're all shook up. It's that kind of feeling. I mean, it reminds me of that.
So the car floating away may be just going back in your memory to when you were 12.
Yeah, it brings that up.
Huh.
An old trauma.
And then the man that greets you, he's the occupant of the house?
Yes, it's his house. He's a stranger. I don't know. He's like middle-aged man.
But he welcomes you.
He welcomes me. He makes me feel at home.
Yeah, and gives you a decorated cake. That's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. That's very, very strange. That I don't know what that's about. I hadn't figured that piece out.
What is a cake? What do you think a cake represents? Go ahead.
Well, when I told Adelaide a dream, she said it was a wedding cake. So that's one of the fanciest cakes you usually see. I don't know for sure if it was a wedding cake, but I'll go with that. I mean, it had a rose on it. It had some other ornamental things on it. I can't remember the details.
Well, if it is, it's more of a celebration than a piece of food.
No, it was a celebration, but I don't know what it was celebrating.
Right.
I-
Well, it's a sensual thing. A cake is a sensual thing. So it comes from the feminine. So you've got the promise of the vaccine and the cake and the hope that you're going to meet up with Adelaide. That, that seems pretty positive.
I feel it was positive. Just having all that affectivity, that feeling of how I missed Adelaide. It's a positive thing for me.
Yeah, and it one thing I think of is the business of feeling shook up, to me, is an indication that you're just right on the cusp, and the ego is always terrified of change. And so it's probably a significant change, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be that worried about it.
I feel that way. I had a dream the next night that might uh, uh, be connected to this, and it's my turn again. We'll do that.
Yeah, let's look at it. Now, Tim raises a bunch of very interesting points. First of all, I think I'm revisiting the reason that we're trying to get back. The problem is that when we went into the collective, when we went in for the collective solution, we lose touch with the feminine, and we lose touch with the feeling function of relatedness and eros, because we don't, at that point, attempt to call her before we return. We return without her, okay? And when we do that, it's sort of a betrayal. And I think what we're doing is we're drifting off into not nowhere land, but never, never land, the place where children never grow up. We're drifting off more into the infantile puer land. And yet ego knows that no, we can't do this. And it comes back into the adult world. It forces itself back into the adult world because it was drifting off back into this puer mother womb world of being far from the transformative feminine and drifting back into the mother complex, And so ego says, no, I'm past this. I've grown past it. And it comes back, but not all the way back, but it comes to a place where apparently the wise old man resides, and it's just this amazing circumstance that we walk right into his house. He welcomes us. And by the way, he has a cake. It is a cake of the feeling function. It is a cake of union. It is a cake of relatedness, and he says, eat the rose. Okay. Eat the feeling function, the relatedness, partake of the eros of this, this magical food. It's the food of the gods, really. And but right now, ego is too shook up for two reasons. It doesn't want to go back into a wet bathing suit, going back into the puer world, and it is separated from the unique feminine that it wants to be connected with. So again, there is a task that remains to be done. We can't eat the wedding cake. We can't eat the cake of union without Adelaide there. So eating that with her would be like leaving that camp without her. So both of those are sort of a betrayal of the unique feminine who currently is lost to us. What do you think, Charles? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm kind of just listening because I'm.
Yeah, Charles does
still
not feel
not
that
well.
great. Yeah, Charles has got a migraine headache
Oh,
tonight.
gosh.
Yeah, but anyway, Roy, what do you think now? Is there anything that
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
I just remember what you said, Roy, about my dream of going into strangers' houses, that I was the only one that was afraid that I wasn't welcome. And I'm thinking about that issue here, because you go into a stranger's house and he says, "Great, you're here. Here's your cake." I think that's pretty great.
Yeah, it is, because when I usually approach strangers in real life, I've had bad reactions, even people tried to shoot me.
Yeah,
So I was surprised. That was wonderful. That's good, Tim.
I think the shook up part is we regressed. We went from being connected with the adult feminine to losing connection with her, and now we're kind of in a more state before the adult relationship with the feminine that is free of the mother complex. So it seems like we've drifted back into the mother complex a little bit. What now, Gary? You are really tuned in tonight. What do you think?
Well, I really like the questions that Tim asked on this, because, it gave a whole different view of several of the aspects. One, that, because, we end up with totally strange constraints in the unconscious that carry over, and so, like, no, I have to wait for her call, I'm not supposed to call her, reminds me of someone I know, exact same situation.
Okay.
And, and so, now that part of the dream makes more sense. And then the story of the dog. And so, here he's driving back, he's this terrible thing has happened. He doesn't know where Adeline is, and he's pulled over into Never Land, and yet he knows that, if he goes there, he could be stuck. And so he fights his way back, which is, a huge win, because you don't want to be stuck in Never Land, from emotional turmoil. And so, now that has like a really positive aspect. And then, your interpretation of the wedding cake and the stranger that is like, it's almost like, he can't fix things, but he's here to console and promise, future union, I guess is what it kind of sounds like. So yeah, I'm so glad that Tim asked those questions, because it just gave, like, I think we got a much more accurate view.
Yeah, she's still absent, though. I mean, yeah, if you just define the central issue in this dream, it really is the absence of Adelaide.
Yeah,
And
the
I
loss
think,
of connection.
yes, the loss of connection, and the seemingly what I'm thinking about it is that we have went into a more unconscious state, because suddenly the ego is not in control, and we're drifting upwards again. We're losing contact with reality, and that losing contact with reality led to going to the nowhere land, or the never land. Yet somehow we said, no, we are coming back to reality. Now, we didn't come all the way back, but at least we came back to the place that is more in the adult realm, and is more related to the wise old man, and union with the wedding cake and the rose of the feeling function. Yet we're still shook up, because where is Adelaide? We can't get a hold of her. We can't call her. She needs to call us, and she's not calling us. Why isn't she calling us? What reason does she have? Now, is she just ambivalent about connecting us, or is there some connectivity issue? I mean, what do you think, Roy? Why isn't she calling?
Well, she's always been like that, and I just had to deal with it from the very beginning. And I don't, probably she's not in touch with her feelings.
Yeah.
She's got something weird going on there too, because normal people aren't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think she has something weird going on too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but she's always been like that.
Well, that would really shake me up. I have got a woman I'm in love with. She won't let me contact her. I lose connection with her, and she doesn't contact me. So where does that leave me? It leaves me in a complete state of uncertainty, complete state of let's say this. The worst fear in my life when I was growing up was abandonment, of being abandoned. Have I been abandoned here? I mean, I don't know. It seems like I might have been abandoned,
Well, that's the telesporous part, I think.
Right.
I probably have a hook for that.
And so now, are we on our own again, and, have to start all over again in Virginia at the place of the beginning. And now we've lost the connection with the feminine, with the eros, with the related function. And the one that we did have connection with is just letting us twist in the wind, or just hang out there. And we don't know why. There might be some explanation, but there doesn't appear to be any. Now, the one who seems the welcoming one, stranger in the house, seems to have an omniscience, or is all knowing, and knows exactly what's been going on all day, and it brings out this cake. Okay, now he knows what's going on all day, but he's kind of ignoring it. He seems to have a divine knowledge of something, because otherwise he wouldn't bring out the cake. So he knows that we've had this it's really catastrophe.
It's kind of like the prodigal son or something.
Yeah, it's a catastrophic situation. We went to the place of healing that was too collective, and there, 30 miles north, okay, 30 miles into the and this was a fool's errand.
That'd be my grandma's house, 30 miles north.
Okay, so you're going
where I was born in Rocky Mount. Is where it would be geographically.
Okay, now was this your mother,
Mom's side?
father?
Yeah, mom.
Okay, you're going into the maternal feminine. So, you're going into the maternal feminine collective, and you lose connection with the anima or the feeling function of eros and everything. And right following that, and the fact that it's so collective, it's so chaotic, and suddenly the anima's gone. She's gone. Now, it might be because we have sinned. We made an error, and we are now have to propitiate the anima in some way, and we don't know what way. But at that point, suddenly it's like we've lost the tether between us and reality has broken, and we start to just wander back off into a dead end of aimless youth, or aimless puer, removed from reality. Yet there is a steeliness in us, and I think this is that earthiness that is related to the shoebill stork, that we can force ourselves. And remember, how do you describe that too? It's really interesting that you say, how do you say that? You say, I focus. Okay. So through focused attention, we get ourselves back, into at least we've stopped the spinning off into space. It's like it reminds me of in 2001: A Space Odyssey, when the tether breaks and that body just flows off to anywhere. Well, somehow we got back, like Dave did, to the mothership. But there is still the issue: why are we separated from the anima? Did we do something wrong? Why isn't she coming back to us? And right now, it's totally left up in the air. And does the cake of union assuage that, or paper that over? Not really, But maybe what he's saying is the only way that you'll regain this connection is through a total commitment to the feeling function and to eros. What do you think, Roy? Now,
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. That's it. And when we do my next stream, we'll probably come back there. I want to hear your comments.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to hear that next stream. Gary or Charles, do you have any concluding thoughts? Because I think Gary, Charles, or Tim, any concluding thoughts on it? And then, because we want to hear the next stream.
I really like what you said for the last part, where it's like, it's that reconnection to joy, to feeling, that is the path forward. And I guess the only other thing I'd say is that for the very first part, it could be that, you thought you were getting the vaccine, you thought you were getting the solution, the way forward. But instead, whatever this path or whatever this way that you've kind of framed the world or whatever is like, no, it's not right. It's there's something off. And so you have to restart, you have to reframe.
It's interesting why this occurred. What did we do that made it come to pass? So, well, why don't we, Tim or Charles, do you have any thoughts? And then we'll go into Tim's dream.
One thing that occurs to me is the difference between the two feminine presences here. So it seems like Adelaide is the anima. Well, why did the dreamer make this other voice separate? I'm just curious about that. Is that the voice of the divine feminine, the great mother, or maybe your grandmother? I just don't know. I'm just curious about that.
What other voice are you referring to?
The one that says, Roy Stone, your appointment is April
Oh,
9th.
okay. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I don't know. I don't know that person, and I was just going there to make sure that it was real. You know, you're talking to me. You're talking. How did she know my name, and how did she get that information? And did I imagine it, or was it real? I had to confirm
Yeah,
So-
you're gonna-
So in the moment, it probably felt like this is the head nurse or something like that.
it. Some nurse.
Yeah.
yeah, it seems that's when all the trouble starts.
Yeah.
You know, is when that is announced, and then we go to affirm it, and from there everything goes downhill. You know, I mean, it just seems at that point is where everything starts to go downhill.
I'm not focusing on what's important. I think that's important, but it's apparently not.
Yeah, there's some reason that is something, and let's just look at the next dream. We'll just hold our thoughts until the next dream.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I don't know if I put the Tim dream in. I have it. Let's see if I can get the Tim dream, because the more I read this dream, and you did a great service at the end here, Roy, and the fact that you identified this as a bubble tree.
Oh, bubble tea.
Bubble tea dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because that really, I think, resonated with
Yeah.
everybody. Okay, I'm there. Okay, Oriental Man. I just missed a little bit. Let's see.
In fact, I changed my title to Bubble Tea.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bubble Tea Dream. Yes. Okay, now let me just, I missed a little bit. Yeah, okay, we go, and it's the Oriental Man, and I guess that's John. Let me just get this in here. Come on, there we go. Select. Okay. Well, do you want to just read it, Tim, so we can start on, kind of get a new start on it?
Early in the morning, I go over to John's house to visit. It's dark, and I open the door, poke my head in, but nobody is up. So I go back outside, just for thinking it's better to wait outside, and start walking around the yard. But then the sprinkler comes on, so I'm forced to carry on down the street back to our house, which is like 2 houses away in the dream. And I encounter there a young Chinese girl to whom I am very attracted. I'm looking at a news story. It seems like this is on my phone, perhaps on my phone, but it's a story about a visit with a family with 4 young boys and a German shepherd who is like a nanny, very tender with the toddler, pulling him around the room with one paw as if it were a hand. I'm very impressed with his sensitivity of that paw. So I exit the house with the girl and her 3 siblings, all with bulbous glasses of very colorful drinks. They ask if I want one, and I decline. We go back to John's house, and now the door is open and the lights are on. We go in and stand in the living room. I'm surprised when a head pokes around the corner and an Oriental man appears that I assume is John. The kids are slurping their drinks, and my girl says, "I'll be sorry that I didn't get one." When it's almost gone, she hands it to me and says and asks if I want a taste. But it looks very sugary because it's very kind of brilliant lime green. And so I go ahead and take a drink, but it's all bubbles, so I can just barely taste it, and I'm not impressed.
Yeah, do you have that image? I can't find it on my iPad, but let's see if I had one other thing I wanted to show. If you can maybe I think if I find it somewhere here, but oh wait, here it is. It's on here. Let's see the attachment. Okay.
You found it?
You did. Okay, good.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah. Let me just see. I have to find the right one here because for some reason on this dumb iPad, I can't. That takes all the emails and just throws them into one.
Here
Well,
it is.
anyway, yeah.
I got it.
Okay, good. Because I wanted to compare it with another picture. There you go. Okay. All right. Now that bulbous vessel to me is almost an exact replica of an alchemical retort. Let me just show you an alchemical retort that I'm talking about here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Yeah. Does any now see there? That's a really. Let me just show you an alchemical retort. The one I'm thinking of. It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it's an alchemical vessel, and what it really does is it takes. It's a vessel of sublimation. The lower bulbous part of it evaporates and then condenses in the second bulb, and then that evaporates and condenses into the third bulb. It's this idea of continual. What you say. You take the milk of 1,000 cow, 110 cows, and you feed it to one cow. You take the milk of 1,000 cows and you feed it to 100 cows. You take the milk of the 100 cows and feed it to 10 cows. And then you feed it the 10 cows to one cow. So then, it's the same milk, Joseph Campbell says, but it has this idea of it's been very refined. Okay. Now, so let's just go to the dream itself.
So that would probably always be from the lower to the upper.
Yes,
I
from
would
the lower to the
imagine.
upper. But if I remember in your picture, it goes the bulbs get bigger as you go up. Is that right? Yeah. I mean they start out small.
That's kind of arbitrary.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's never. But in
I just
any
made
way,
it that way so she could grab the bottom.
yeah, it follows this thing. So we go to the house, and I'm saying that John is the inner companion. He's kind of this twin companion. There's nothing shadowy about him. Do you think there's anything shadowy about him?
No.
No, I think he's just like an inner companion, an inner helper, but he's always absent. Every time we look for him, he's gone, And I mean, that's the other dream. He was gone too, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So he's not currently available. It's dark and he's not up yet. So, ego consciousness is there at the place of the inner companion, but he's unavailable. So now this is not unusual in some of the dreams you've been having, Tim, is that this person that we're looking for is unavailable. So now we wait outside for this companion who's going to assist the conscious attitude, the helping companion. And we just stand outside and we start to study the landscape, but it becomes too wet. Okay. And you can say it's because of the sprinklers, but it's too wet. There's some aspect of it that it's just too, that was what,
Too watery.
yeah, too watery. I loved what Annette said. It's too watery. Okay. This place is too watery. It's not, there's a lack of reality function here, and I let you is that where you got that too, Gary?
Yeah,
From what
yeah.
Annette said. Yeah. And anyway, so we have to move away. We go back to our conscious attitude. So we went there. It's too watery. the inner companion's unavailable. We were out there seeking him out for some reason. And it's a little early and it's a little dark. You know, he's not up yet. So it's very early in the morning. So now we come back to our own residence. And there we encounter the anima. But she is a Eastern feminism, a feminine. She's a Eastern feminine. So she's not only young, but she comes from the place that the sun rises, you know. So she represents the East, you know, and it's very unusual wisdom that is almost the polar opposite of European wisdom. Okay, European wisdom, masculine on the outside, feminine on the inside, and Eastern wisdom, feminine on the outside and masculine on the inside, you know. But anyway, she is young and from the place of the rising sun, and she is less similar to the conscious attitude than other, say, models or other women that we've been showing in our dreams. She's unusual. Now, she awakens within us the energy of attraction. See, what does the masculine ego lack? That which it lacks, it's attracted to. And that is this feminine feeling, eros relationship, you know, and we're just, it's like a magnet, you know, and she's awakened it. We're very attracted to her. So she possesses that power that causes the energy flow to come between the feminine and the masculine, you know. And now, so at that point, suddenly, now we've shifted. So we've had two shifts here. One was from the watery world of our inner companion. Secondly, is this feminine, and now at that point she's not drinking the drink yet. She's just there, right? And she doesn't have her three siblings with her, does she? Yet?
I think they're all hanging out in the house when I'm looking at this news story.
Okay. Well then, where did you meet the first one? Outside or inside?
Inside.
Okay, inside. So you are inside, and she's there. But why didn't you mention the other three siblings yet? Or you were sort of aware of them? How did you know who she was, and why was she there?
Who knows?
Okay. All right, she's just there. Okay.
Yeah.
Accept it. Okay. Now, suddenly we become aware of a news story. But are the boys actually there?
No, it's all on the phone. I'm looking at these little tiny pictures that is part of the news story, and maybe one of them is a video of the dog.
Okay, the one is the video of the dogs. Okay, so anyway, it is the fourness of masculine growth. So there's an aspect of masculine growth, which is four. You know, the new thing in us, you know, is somehow related to the fact that we met the four anima in our house. Suddenly we're introduced on the phone to the four masculine aspects of growth. You know, I mean, we see them on the phone. Okay. But that doesn't make any difference that they're on the phone. Somehow, from meeting the anima and her from the east, from the place of the rising sun, and her three siblings, we become aware of the four masculine counterparts to the four anima. And they are youthful. Man, they are being led by the instinctual energy. Okay. That knows, it knows exactly what it's doing. It's has a very articulated paw, and it knows exactly how to lead these four growing aspects within us that appeared after we met the four growing aspects of the feminine. Okay. And then, So now, what is this exit with the anima? What happened there? You all went outside, or
Yeah, we're just milling around in the house. They
okay,
get their drinks and we all leave.
okay, and they have again, which seems to be an alchemical vessel. I just say it. From the moment you mentioned it, I just thought of the alchemical retort. These four anima have the vessel of transformation. You know, now what the vessel of transformation normally is that we apply our attention to it, and it creates an image of transformation. And in this case, it's this sort of a lime green. Now it would be lime green would be yellow and green, so it would be intuition and sensation. Okay, the mixture of the two unconscious, or the two functions that just happen to us, intuition and sensation. And the feminine is drinking those two functions that just happen to us and have nothing to do with ego, but now that's sort of a leap, but anyway, we now we return to this John's house, the companion house. Now he's still absent, but the lights are on, and the door is open. So we enter the house, and we go to the living room, the central room of the inner companion's residence. Okay, and then suddenly around the corner comes the inner companion, but he has adopted the Eastern attitude as well. I mean, at least he's manifesting in a form of someone who comes from the land of the rising sun.
But all I see is his head.
Yes, all you see is his head. He just sticks it around the corner. So
Yep.
again, he's very mysterious. He never really appears. This is the first time we've had hardly a glimpse of him. And then the anima invites us to drink this lime green, which looks sugary, bubble tea. We're going to have to hear more about bubble tea. Liquid of the alchemical retort. We don't want it until there's nothing left. There's no watery liquid anymore. All there is are little air bubbles. So they're just spirit bubbles. They've lost their connection with reality and with the depths when they became bubbles, and that doesn't, we're not impressed with those. Well, would we have been impressed with the real liquid? Okay, Roy, what do you think now? And talk to us about bubble tea too.
Yeah, this dream reminds me of that dream where Tim was going into that house that had sort of ornamental architecture that he liked, but he didn't seem to pay any attention to the family. And I think it was a young girl, maybe a teenager girl, that was leading, and he went across some water, but he didn't feel the water. And then he got distracted about some old art or something that she showed him that was his. Well, in this dream, there's sprinklers, but I think he might have felt these sprinklers. He seemed like he was more aware of the water in this dream. And then there's a teenager girl. And these people are from the East. So there's like a different perspective now. The unconscious is going to hit him from the other side of the world. And the drink to me is like they're trying to tempt Tim. Now he's on his cell phone. He's sort of sentimental. He knows what he likes. He's kind of in the past. And he's attracted to the family and how they care about each other and how gentle the dog is. Then he goes back and he's tempted with this drink, but he kind of has made his mind up. He's not going to like it. even though he gets a little taste, he's not sure what it tastes like. He didn't get enough, but he just kind of made his mind up. He's not going to like it. He's kind of being tempted. So this is a lot of progression in this dream. He kind of felt the water, and he took a little taste, and he noticed the teenage girl. So we're moving right along here. Bubble tea is so big in the East. I don't know. It's just instead of sodas, they drink bubble tea.
When Gary and Charles get done, if Charles wants to talk, we also want to talk about how do we put this dream in context with the library dream before, because that was really haunting to me. What do you think, Gary?
I'm going to take a little bit of a different tack here.
Great.
So the lime green drink. So I'm going to work my way backwards. This lime green drink, which looks very sugary, so, and it seems like it's all bubbles. It's subtle. It's the subtle energy. It's the thing that, that you can't just grasp physically. You have to be subtle. You have to pay attention. You have to sense it. You have to, it's part of your intuition. And what are these girls doing? They are all sharing this experience of this subtle experience, which is a part of, of the group. And, her telling you that you'll be sorry that you didn't taste it. It's not that it's going to be this yummy drink. It's that it's the shared experience with the anima that, that you should partake of, although it's not easy, because it's not going to slap you in the face, it's intuitive, it's sensation. And then, back to when you go back to John's house and the door is now open. Well, the reason it was open, and I think Craig, you already said this, is that, now you have the help. Now you have the animas, and you also have, but along with the animas, going back to the start of the dream, or I guess partway through, it's like as soon as you see the Chinese anima that you're drawn to, you also read about the masculine. And I really liked how Craig interpreted that, and the instinctive, leading, carefully, the toddler, it's just learning to walk, the growth in this area, it's just beginning. But the awareness opens, so the awareness is now there, and the awareness wasn't there before. And the awareness, maybe came from, the gift of meeting the animal. And the movement from the indoors to the outdoors, this is like, okay, this is moving to the consciousness, this is starting to be in a place where you can be, become more aware of it. So next time you have to drink the drink.
Yeah. What would you do if you were at Holy Communion and the priest offered you, this is my blood, drink of it, and we said, no, thank you. And then we says, and then we finally taste it and we're not that impressed. Well, was that the purpose? Was that we were going to, I'm just following up on what Gary said, that it was more of a ritual of bonding with the feminine, not, an aesthetic thing,
Or
And since-
like with Roy's wedding cake, it's not so much food as it is a celebration.
Yeah, a ritual
A
connection.
ritual, yeah.
Yeah, a ritual connection, and since now this is again, how many times in any of our dreams the anima offers us something and we say no, you know, and we I remember in Seinfeld, you know, some woman invites George up for coffee, you know, after the date, and he says, "Oh no, thanks, I don't want any coffee." You know, I mean, and and then later he knows that it wasn't about coffee, you know, it was about something else, you know. So the idea there is that it was just a lost opportunity, you know. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, the whole idea is that we're very attracted to this feminine, her and her very mysterious vessel. Now, we think it's too sweet, you know, it has a quality that is overly sweet. Now, that means to me something like that is somewhat similar. It could be,
Adolescent. It could be he's thinking it's too adolescent.
that's what
But
I
it's
was
not
thinking.
of him. Yeah.
It's too adolescent. The sugary aspect has to do with it is of a too immature feminine, perhaps. Maybe this drink of this woman seems that we're looking for something more substantial. You know, that's a very good point, because I was thinking of also though of the dream about the crazy woman dream, you know, where her attitude is not acceptable to the husbands or to the masculine attitude, and she needs that wild feminine spirit needs to be contained in a masculine container. Now, but I had the same thought you do, Gary, is that this is not exactly analogous, because it could be, the sugariness could be related to its too immature an attitude, you know. Charles, do you still want to just listen, or do you have any thoughts at all?
No, I'm still just listening.
Okay, still just listening. Okay, Roy, do you have any further comments? I'd like to compare this to the dream that was previous. I'm going to put it in the chat because it's not a very long dream, but it's a wonderful dream. Roy, did you have any further
Yeah,
thoughts?
bubble tea is for young people, teenagers and young people. Older, mature women, they don't drink bubble tea. And maybe, you know, it could be taboo. You know, you're not supposed to be that attracted to a teenager. You know, it's like taboo. And so the tea is going to help him not get too attracted because it's too sweet. Because taboos are very strong. They're going to come through in dreams and unconscious.
Well, it's very interesting too that the young adolescent feminine brings in the even younger masculine. But hey, Roy, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to make that statement because it's I think it's important.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that it is too immature. It's certainly not the blood of the anointed one.
Well, I don't know if it's immature or taboo.
Yes, that could be either one. That her she is. Let's just say this. It's sort of, maybe she is sort of like Artemis, you know, and we're not to have her attitude is not one. I mean, our connection with her is not to be one of lust. It's to be one of transformation. So what we see here is when we see the four feminine from the place of the rising sun, then we see the four nascent beings of masculine growth, just learning to walk and being led so beautifully by the very sensitive and articulate instinctual aspect, you know. So those two events are related. Then we see the alchemical vessel, which is the importance of it we haven't defined yet. Is there any possibility that the container of that wonderful alchemical vessel has no value? What do you think, Tim? Is there a possibility that the contents of this strange vessel have no value to
Well,
us?
what I'm thinking of suddenly is the parallel between the vessel that you described, that the retort is in, that that gradually creates a stronger essence with each level. The parallel between that and the girl infusing this liquid, which last time you called the water of life, and somehow maybe that's part of the process where she's going to exude it on a different level, and it becomes more powerful or more concentrated or something.
Now, it looked sugary, but we don't know if it's sugary. Do we? Now, you tasted the bubbles in it, but those aren't the real. What did it say in the dream? Did it say in the dream that we?
Well, it just says I wasn't impressed, but
But how did you know it was sugary? I guess is
just looking at the color.
just looking at the color.
Yeah.
The color looked like candy, like a neon, sort of a pastel green, which did not look very natural.
Right.
That's kind of an adult masculine assumption, you know, that might not have been correct.
Well, I also relate it to an incident or a period when I was going to art school in London, and I spent the winter in London, and suddenly my favorite color became lime green because there's nothing growing. So, you know, I'd go into a museum and I'd be attracted to the lime green in a painting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does have that association of new life.
Is it a color on? It isn't a color that we encounter in nature very often, is it or not?
Well, it
Lime.
is in new shoots, like on a pine tree or something.
Yeah, I mean that kind of a. I don't know. I mean, it's just it is, if you especially look at it in but what Gary said was true too, that the masculine aspect thinks that is a sugary color. That's what I was thinking about the crazy woman dream, is that it has that the masculine thinks. See, but the woman is choosing it because it appeals to her. It might not appeal to us, you know, but it appeals to her.
She also says that he'll regret not sharing.
Yes. And are we too? That's the two things. Is the contents of that vessel, if it is close, is offered as a ritual, we will regret. What is the meaning of those words? And do we discount them and say, aha, who cares? You say it's regretful, but I will not regret it. You know, I mean, that is that, so there's the two questions. Is there no value to the contents of the vessel? And secondly, what does she mean by, do we dismiss her statement of this anima from the far east with the strange vessel, with the strange contents that are very foreign to conscious attitude and apparently strange to the masculine attitude? Do we discount, first say that the substance is valueless, and secondly, that it is her statement that we will regret it is also of no account, you know, is not an important statement. You know?
See, I have a synchronicity to add to this. Yesterday I was out painting on the coast, and it was a sunny day here, a lot of people around. And at one point, this woman came up to me and said, "Will you do a trade?" She says, "I'm an artist." I said, "Sure, I'd love to do a trade." This is a Oriental woman, and I haven't had an encounter with an Oriental woman in years and years, probably, because, well, we don't have much diversity in Montana. And anyway, we spent a long time talking. We walked back to the house so I could show her some of my paintings, to have her choose one. And then after, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, she said she was going to go sketching in the morning before dawn, like at 6. And I said, "Gosh, I'd love to come with you. Let's go down to the beach and sketch." She said, "Great, I'll text you in the morning." Well, I didn't hear from her. 3 hours later, I get a text from San Francisco. "Oh, I just went home. I had something else to do." And it reminds me of Roy's situation. The feminine is immediately available, and there's going to be some kind of conjunction, and then poof, it's gone.
What did we do wrong? I mean, there's some second thoughts by her, you know, and in Roy's dream, it's just such a mysterious reason for her sudden disappearance and the fact that she doesn't contact us. It's just very, to me, I don't know the answer to that question yet, but I think Roy had some inclination on it. But now let's just talk a little bit about the dream previous to that, which was I think an aspirational dream, you know, that followed up on some very troublesome dreams that were seemingly a little, the dream before that. What was the one right before that? What was where you're going into all the other people's houses, you know? And I thought that was a little more positive, and I think, you know, Roy did too, and Charles, is that we were suddenly discovering, that the house, that we're not the masters in our own house. You know, we're suddenly discovering the psyche, and the psyche is showing us our house, its house, you know, and allowing us to come in. Now this dream, we go into a big European city with our partner, and we're going to take the bus to the center of the psyche. Okay, it's really the center of the psyche, but we stop one stop too soon, and because we can't go there in this vehicle, and we have to walk there, and then we meet the anima. We go into a square. That's in the center, is the square, is Temenos, and it is full of wisdom there. And the anima, gives us an invitation. She says excitedly, "We could live here, you know, and we could live here at the start of new growth in March, at the start of spring, the new growth, and it would be very busy, but it would be a great opportunity." Now that was the dream that preceded this dream. Okay. So can you put those two dreams in context? Roy, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm just putting it with a conjunctio. I mean,
Yeah.
he can if he wants to. At least he's open to it now. He's feeling a little more. That's progress. That's a big change. It's switching, going in that direction.
Is this, do you think this following dream has anything to do with the path to get to this square or not.
It sure feels like there's a progression,
Yeah.
but there's more and more difficulty as you go farther back.
Mhm.
And, 3 or 4 dreams ago, there's the muse, in the kind of the university dormitory. And we couldn't really communicate, and she was frustrating me. And so we're
The
progressively.
one that wanted to talk to the rector.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
right.
spiritus rector, or talk to the self.
And so we're getting closer and closer, and finally we're sharing this drink. And, I was smart enough to say, oh, sure, and take the drink instead of saying, well, no, I don't want the communion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to turn it down. Sorry, priest. I'm not. And the woman goes and finds the spiritus rector. So sometimes it seems the anima's doing things. Well, this case, we get an invitation, turn it down. She says, you will regret this. Now that's really somewhat ominous words. Are we going to ignore it? What do you think, Gary?
Oh, well, yeah, I see the progression for sure, because I mean, in one case, we're searching, in this big European city, and you can't actually go there directly. It's a little bit circuitous, you have to get off on foot. You can't drive the persona there.
Yeah.
And so, then, he meets up and with the anima, and she says, wow, we could live here. And then in this next dream, the anima is there and offering communion. So like, wow, that's like, I mean, it's definitely progress.
I think that Roy's dream, and actually my own dreams, and this dream, and Tim's dream and Charles' dream too. I mean, Gary's dream and Charles' dreams as well. There is something in us that we are, that to get to the next level, there is, that we're hanging on to the conscious attitude a little bit too much. I mean, how do we let go of the conscious attitude and do what the inner world is saying is required to get to the next level, which is a magical transformation in awareness, some type of thing that we see there's another way, okay? And it's not the way of thinking, and it's not the way of ego conscious. I think Roy's dream is pretty advanced on that level. I think Roy, what do you think your dream is saying you are doing wrong? Or I mean, it's hard to nail it down, but I mean, why did the anima and you suddenly lose connection? Is you were kind of hinting around at it.
Well, I loved something once and I lost it. I was traumatized.
Mhm.
So it's going to be really hard to get back to how my feelings that I had before that incident. And you'll carry it inside of you the rest of your life. It's a very difficult thing to heal.
So it's kind of hard to open up when there's that possibility of desperate loss.
Yeah, it's that trust and just that feeling that you can't, the thing that you love you can't lose. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, out of left field, you lose it. And it traumatizes you. And how you're going to get back to who you were before that? You're broken. How you gonna put that back together?
And I think the thing is that all of these dreams that Tim has been having are incredibly profound. I just think of the one with the ornamental house and the watery place and all the musical instruments that are being played somewhere else, and all the little inscriptions on the outside, and then all these dreams about the the feminine to whom we are barred. I mean, we're barred like 3 times. But we don't understand the iceberg diorama, you know, and then we aren't admitted to the house of 4 women. Now suddenly we are in a house with 4 women, but they're not as mature. They're a little more youthful, and they're from the land of the rising sun, and they precipitate the 4 nascent masculine aspects. And it's no accident that there's 4 of each one, you know. I mean, think of Patricia's dream, you know, with 4 women on both sides, you know, and then the 4 that go to the left side, you know. So the thing in this, Tim, is so incredibly profound. And again, how do we first of all understand? Maybe we don't need to understand the message. There's 2 things we need to do to a dream like this. One is we need to be its medium of expression, okay? And it doesn't make any difference that we don't understand it. The unspoken words of being the medium of expression of any dream is going to be, has transformational effect, okay? Then the other thing we do is once I think that maybe is the first step. And then the second step is to walk around it and try to differentiate it with vocabulary and sentences, you know, and analogies in words.
When you say the unspoken medium of expression, do you mean that we simply try to feel the dream? I mean, what do you mean?
I would say that there would be drawing or and coloring, but the one now, what was Charles' dream that we had last time? What was that one that needed to be enacted?
Oh, that reminded me. I wanted to say something about that dream where he was in the submarine.
Yes, in the submarine. Yes,
he couldn't.
trapped.
He didn't want the door to open, and there were children and a woman, and they couldn't get the door open. It was something about image, but it's surrounded by water. That's feeling, right? That's what I wanted to say. That's feeling. But the biggest feeling you have is passion, which is very close to anger. And that came out with the fire hydrant and stuff. He thought it was going to ignite a fire. That's the passion and the anger. So he enclosed himself off from feeling in general. But then it came within the chamber that he was in, the worst types of feeling, passion and anger. And then he zoned out. He's not ready to feel those feelings.
Well,
I wanted to bring that up because that's a good, thing to think about.
Well, the one thing that I was thinking about is how do we make this not an unopened letter in our awareness, and through and what Tim suggested, and I think is so beautiful, is what if Charles or me or you enacted this dream through acted it out, and like it was a real play, and played our role in the dream, and maybe played 2 or 3 different roles.
You can't do that if you don't feel it. You can't do it without feelings.
Yeah, well, or
you can't do it justice. You can't do it justice without feelings.
Yes, I mean the idea, though, I think, is that we need to. Okay, this is something that I noticed. Like on Valentine's Day, my active imaginations are just absolutely magical because it's the 14th of February. It's Valentine's Day, and also if I'm have a feeling of deep, a very emotional feeling within me, and this is, I think, what you're saying, Roy, is missing, is then suddenly the dream means so much more to me. So I think that's also it, Gary. I'm not saying that I know what the medium of expression means, but I think Roy is sort of acting on that too. Gary and Tim, what do you think about making a dream manifest in real, ego awareness, so that it seizes us and grips ego more than it does now.
Yeah, I agree with what you said about the importance of painting and drawing, just because we can make discoveries and we certainly feel more connected to it that way because, we're showing it our respect and our intention, which is always important. But then I guess as you were talking about the enactment, I think that's the only possible way we can actually get the feeling function really in there. And the only way that I've seen it done is by Bosnak. And what Bosnak, what he talks about is, it's like, you have, and, this isn't fast work. This is, it takes some, you're not just going to go through the dream and like the amount of time we're spending here. But what you would do is you would choose a character, and then, you look for the feature, that you can most connect with. And then you try to, feel as if, you were in that character with that feature, and that's kind of where your focus is. So literally it's like you're trying to, give that character your consciousness. And so, and I'm not sure I'm describing this quite accurately, but then, once you're there, you just focus on the emotion, on the feeling of that particular feature, and that might be as far as you get, but then the other thing that he would do is he would say, so once you've spent some time there and you've amplified the feeling, you would take it back to your body and associate it with a particular point in your body. So then you would go through, the various characters in the dream, and you would do this. And each one you would associate with, different points in your body. And then what you would do, and this is not knowing. This is like, so then what you do is you try to open your awareness to all those points in your body, and what is the aha that it delivers. So, it's literally this instinctual jump by taking those, by first, noticing something that you can connect with, then doing the connection and feeling like, well, who is this, what is this character emoting? And then taking those all back into your body and trying to feel the gestalt of them. And, it's like, I wish, I don't know, it's because we can't get Bosnak to lead us through and train us, it might be worthwhile to, go through some of his work again, and then maybe try to replicate it, sometime in one of these dream groups, because I think, we're really all about learning, and the, the main so, we in this group, we interpret dreams, by their symbols, and we, like, for example, the mistakes that I made in Roy's dream is like a perfect example of the dangers of what we do, because like, I didn't know the history. I didn't know about the pain of Never Never Land and the dangers of being there, and like, can you even get back? So like, my interpretation was completely off track there because of not being aware of that. Whereas if Roy had been doing an embodiment, that feeling would have been very, very strong. So it,
How do you bring the dream into the body and not just the head?
Yeah,
That's what we
exactly.
need.
What we need is a way to embody the dream. And of course,
Not
you
head.
can't, you can't start with that. You start by embodying, a feeling, something that the character, like, is representing, and feeling what that is and taking it to an emotion. So I don't know, it's like, I'd have to, if I can, let me try to find some
Yeah, why don't
references,
you
and
do that? I'd
I'll
love to
send
see
you
it.
that, because it's like, it's not like I could lead us through it. It's more like we would have to work through it together.
Well, at least it's gonna add to our arsenal. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's pick this up Wednesday, and let's finish the discussion of Tim's dream, and then Roy, if you can bring us the follow up to the dream. Tim, do you have any closing statements or?
Nope.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, we'll finish this up on Wednesday. But that was wonderful, Gary and Roy and Tim and Charles. I hope you feel better.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Well, we'll
Right.
see you all
Great.
soon. Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye bye, guys.